and welcome to news video number 8 in our series on the Kemano Completion Project. I'm Les Holroyd, Alcan's Director of Corporate Information in British Columbia. This news video marks 2 years of coverage on the Kemano Completion Project, an opportunity for us to share with you the excitement of this huge project. In this news video, we'll look at the accomplishments that have taken place over those 2 years. We'll talk with Project Director Paul Wolf about those 2 years and the years to come. Project Field Engineer Rod Moore will explain how a powerhouse is blasted into the heart of a mountain. Finally, we'll meet Mike Bruno and the folks behind the environmental program of the Kemano Completion Project. But first, here's our progress report for the last quarter of 1990. Winter hit British Columbia with a vengeance, dumping near record amounts of snow throughout the province. Although it looked like this might have a major impact on the Kemano Completion Project, such was not the case. Most work above ground was wrapped up before the snows hit. As we see here, the new Upper Kemano Valley camp was completed just as the snow arrived. And although construction of the Sandifer camp was stopped due to road closure, it was almost finished. One road that must be kept open, however, is the Heretsky Road, connecting Heretsky Camp tunnel boring operations with Kemano and the outside world. Brian Hall of the Avalanche Control Program says he and his team have been successful in protecting the road, mainly because they were prepared.
Well, it has been an early season for us. We started up this year on October 15th, thinking we'd have a lot of time to get the program organized and be ready for winter. October 18th, we had our first avalanche come out. We're close to 300 avalanches logged so far this season. Last year we had 500 total for the year, and we've had 18 avalanches on the road so far.
Although it's cold and snowy up top, deep inside the mountain the weather is fine, and the tunnel boring machine is more than halfway to Kemano, well ahead of schedule for the downstream drive from the Heretsky adit. By the end of December, it had progressed more than 4,500 meters, 28% of the total tunnel length of 16 kilometers. November 15th, 1990, marked an historical first for the Kemano Completion Project. The first land machine, under its own power, clawed its way to the penstock staging area on Mount Dubose. This clears the way for completion next spring of what has come to be known as the 800-meter road. Originally, this plateau was carved out of the mountain by workers on the first project in the 1950s. Those workers arrived by aerial tramway. As in the first project, a junction will be constructed here between the powerhouse penstock and the 16-kilometer tunnel carrying water from the reservoir. The principal contractor on the penstock is PCL Northern, but it was Willie Sims of subcontractor A.L. Sims and Son of Prince George who actually punched through the last few meters of this pilot road. On hand to greet Willie at the top was Heretsky area manager Ed Thomas. Ed tells us that the 800-meter road has a nominal grade of 15 degrees with an occasional 18 to 20 degree incline. When work on the new penstock begins, loaded trucks will be assisted up the steeper inclines by a series of powered winches. Meanwhile, underground mining operations for the new powerhouse extension and transformer gallery are well underway. Since mid-September, contractor PCL Northern has been completing preliminary work necessary for this major drill and blast operation. The tail race and air supply tunnels now connect with the excavations, and the first bench, or layer of rock, has been blasted and removed. The object of this operation is to carve 2 huge chambers into the heart of the mountain. The smaller will become a new transformer gallery. The larger chamber will become an extension of the existing Kemano powerhouse. Essentially, they are being excavated in the same manner. Under previous contracts, the roof arches of these chambers were excavated, as well as the tail race electrical and air supply tunnels, providing access to the chambers. Space for the number 9 generator unit was excavated in the 50s during construction of the existing powerhouse. When the powerhouse extension is complete, 4 new generators will be installed to complement the 8 in the existing powerhouse. Project Field Engineer Rod Moore tells us one of the primary concerns is the impact of blasting on powerhouse operations next door. Uncontrolled shock waves could disrupt the supply of power to the Alcan smelter in Kitimat and to BC Hydro.
And our drilling and blasting operations is creating minor earthquakes, sending shock waves into the control room, which shake the equipment. To control the size of these shock waves, the quantity of explosives set off at any one time is strictly controlled. This is done by loading 35 to 45 holes in a blast and then connecting the powder in the holes with millisecond delays, actually creating a series of small individual blasts which occur over a period of 2 to 3 seconds. This generates a series of mini shock waves instead of one major bump. To facilitate removal of the shot rock from the powerhouse excavation, PCL Northern has excavated 2 muck raises up from the tail race tunnels for Unit 10 and Unit 12. The first bench below the excavation completed under the previous contract, Foundation Nabasco, was taken out with scoop trams through the construction access and air supply tunnels. The balance of the second bench will be excavated with scoop trams hauling the shot rock to and dumping it down the Unit 12 muck raise. During the excavation of powerhouse benches 3 through 7, the shot rock will be dumped down both the Unit 10 and 12 muck raises. This way, the mucking cycle does not have to be completed prior to resuming drilling and blast operations. Also, the tail race tunnel is larger and will permit access for the larger trucks.
The use of larger trucks, resulting from the separation of mucking and drilling operations, is more efficient. As well, separate operations help control dust in the mining areas. PCL Northern has mobilized a fleet of new equipment for this job and is making good progress. They anticipate no problem in completing excavation by late March or early April of 1991. At that point, they will begin pouring concrete for the powerhouse extension and penstocks. In a remote area like Kemano, a dependable and efficient telecommunications system is critical to maintaining contact with the outside world. Over the years, that system has been evolving along with the latest technology. Originally, residents were served by a power line carrier system, one where telephone conversations shared a transmission line with 800 megawatts of electricity. More recently, that antiquated system was replaced with a satellite system. However, even space-age technology has its problems. Confusing and annoying voice delays were caused by the time signals took to travel from the Earth to the satellites and back again. In November, Alcan's Bill Wilkinson was in Kemano to oversee conversion to a new land-based microwave system which will serve both the Kemano completion project and, on a permanent basis, Kemano.
Yes, it's a real-time system in that it's part of the Trans-Canada telephone network, and it would be just like dialing and using the telephone from your home in Toronto or Vancouver. It's instantaneous because of the distances being much shorter, and it's a terrestrial-based system using microwave towers, as you see in the background.
Good morning, KCP Site Office.
Besides solving the voice delay problems, the new system benefits computer and fax data transmissions, which were often disrupted or disconnected. The one remaining benefit of the satellite system is the community antenna television service, which continues to service both Kemano and the Kemano completion project.
The project was first conceived by the telecommunications group of Alcan based in Montreal. Then we challenged BC Tel to provide the facilities and the services, not only the transmission services, but all the local telephone equipment, which is basically SL1s from Northern Telecom. Milo DeCall, who is the account rep, has done an outstanding job for us, and we're very, very happy the way the system works.
That wraps up our progress report for the last quarter of 1990, and it also wraps up 2 years of construction activity on the Kemano completion project. During those 2 years, there have been many changes in and around Kemano. Now let's take a look back to early 1989 to see some of those accomplishments. It's been just 2 years since work crews were mobilized for the Kemano completion project. Sawakan Camp was erected in preparation for a workforce of hundreds, while project site planning was carried out. That was then, and this is now.
The earliest recollection of Kemano and coming up here is actually when I got off the plane in Paris and went over to Canadian helicopter and got on that helicopter ride. It was a very, very clear day. I remember it very well. It was the 2nd of March, 89, and we went over the top. I learned later was the most direct route, and it was a beautiful day.
Improvements to Sawakan and Kemano area facilities continued right through last summer. Meanwhile, the big job is taking place inside Mount DeBose. Eight kilometers up the road, the Horetsky campsite is at the halfway point between Kemano and the West Tatsa intake. After a crew of hard rock miners drilled and blasted a new adit, the job of tunneling through Mount DeBose has been handed over to a tunnel boring machine. Since last June, the machine has bored more than half the 8 kilometers from the adit to Kemano.
It's a construction job. I was glad to be here. This is an exciting project. I love it.
As far as the train goes?
Oh yeah. There's no end of interesting things to do. I mean, where else would I have as many toys as I got?
There certainly have been a lot of changes since construction started. Project Director Paul Wolf is with us today to bring us up to date. Last year was a year of progress and mainly good news, but there were some cost problems. Paul, you've never been one to shirk a tough question. Tell us, what happened?
Well, we have had a major cost increase, and now KCP is a billion-dollar project. What happened is that we have underestimated the productivity factor, and we have too underestimated the cost of services, such as the transportation system, the operation, and the maintenance of the camp. The other thing that has affected us too has been the major restructuring that has been going on in the last decade in the heavy civil construction market, and now we're faced with the loss of expertise and with fewer contractors to bid our jobs.
Alcan's need to cut back capital cost projects in 1991 has had an impact on the KCP budget. Can you tell us whether it will have any effect on the in-service date of the new generators?
We are proceeding with the major critical element of the project, which is the core of the plant, and now we're about 2 months ahead of schedule on the tunnel, and we are virtually on schedule on the penstock and on the powerhouse. There remain a lot of work to be done, but we think that it can be finished in the quarter number 3 of 1994.
You've said from the beginning that you're going to build a project that's going to last for at least 80 years. Could you give us a comment on quality?
Well, we have successfully upgraded the facilities in the Kemano Valley, such as the road, the telecommunication, the medical center, and the daycare, and we've built a brand new maintenance building. On the permanent infrastructure, we're boring a smooth tunnel with the tunnel boring machine, which will translate into an efficient tunnel for us. In the powerhouse, we're taking extra care in the excavation so that we have a safe and stable excavation for decades to come.
Before starting construction, you were successful in negotiating a no-strike, no-lockout contract with the 17 trade unions that make up the Allied Hydro Council. It's 2 years later. How's it working?
Les, let me tell you that so far we've worked 2 million person-hour on the project, and we have one grievance outstanding out of a total of 25. This 25 represent 1/5 of the average in the industry. On top of that, we are enjoying union cooperation regarding native participation. So from a labor relation viewpoint, we're doing okay.
Safety has always been a #1 priority on the job. Can you give us a summary of the successful safety record you've achieved with everyone working together and working safely?
Yes, our frequency of accident is 15 on a million person-hour basis, which is extremely good by industry standard. On top of that, we're doing mine rescue training in underground operation in the tunnel, the penstock, and the powerhouse. At the same time, we're doing mountain rescue on the transmission line, and we're doing avalanche monitoring and control in the Oretske Valley, where we get up to 42 feet of snow during the winter.
Environmental matters have also been high on the project agenda. Can you tell us how you're addressing the public and government agency concerns on the environment?
Yes, last year we've moved from a planning to an implementation phase on the project, and with that, Mr. Mike Bruneau, our manager of the environment, has relocated to the site in mid-1990. Of the 171 permits that we've received so far, we had only one violation in 1990, and through our monitoring and follow-up with agencies, we are enjoying a good track record.
So how do you feel about things in general on the project so far?
Oh, it's a very challenging project. As you know, it's taken a lot of time to get things going in terms of funding, in terms of contract, in terms of engineering. It's a remote site. It has a lot of challenges, but it's very, very interesting indeed.
Thanks very much, Paul.
You're welcome.
In its 1990 mission statement, Alcan made environmental responsibility a primary concern in all its endeavors. In a special report, we look at how this mandate is affecting activities on the Kemano completion project. Environmental protection has become a fact of life in today's industrial world. On the Kemano completion project, Alcan's Mike Bruneau has the task of dealing with environmental issues and government requirements.
Today, environmental concerns play a major role in construction activities, and the Kemano completion project is no exception to this rule. A key mandate of our environmental group is to minimize adverse construction impacts on land, water, and air. Proximity to important salmon habitat make water quality a prime concern of this project. Methods that we follow to ensure this goal are to properly treat the water, as an example from the power tunnel and powerhouse construction activities. Also, our construction camps are serviced by sewage treatment plants that discharge the treated effluent to ground, thereby minimizing the impacts on any watercourse or river. Another important mandate of our environmental group is close communication with the government agencies, both the federal and provincial agencies, because this project requires approximately 225 permits for the construction activities, which are obtained from 11 different government agencies. We also have on site at present 2 environmental supervisors from our environmental consulting firm Triton, who monitor construction activities on a regular basis in order to ensure that the special conditions of the contract and permit conditions are followed.
Here at Heretsky, our main concern is treating the effluent that comes out of the power tunnel and created by the tunnel boring machine. Our main concern is oils and greases from the machine and suspended solids, fines that are ground up by the machine when it's in operation. To deal with this effluent, Power Mountain has built 5 settling ponds, and this allows the effluent time from pond to pond to settle out fines. To deal with any oils and greases, there's an oil skimmer and sorbent booms. Lastly, it goes through a filter plant where it's further filtered for fines and chemicals. The filter plant filters approximately 3,000 cubic meters of effluent a day. After the filter plant, the effluent goes out through some leach lines that run for about 300 meters below Heretsky Road. The water comes out through small holes in these leach lines and filters into the ground. And that way we protect Heretsky Creek from any deleterious substances from the tunnel.
The most obvious byproduct of the tunneling process is the rock from the tunnel. It, too, must be disposed of in an environmentally safe manner. Any muck that seeps into creeks or rivers threatens salmon spawning beds with suffocation from the sediment.
As a requirement of the Ministry of Environment, you will see that there is a 20-meter buffer zone maintained between the toe of the muck pile and Heretsky Creek. This ensures that no muck material from the pile goes into Heretsky Creek.
Triton environmental consultants have been involved with the Kemano completion project for more than a decade. Clyde Mitchell has been a key figure throughout this process. As well as planning and implementation, Triton is also involved with an ongoing review of the project and its environmental concerns.
In order to accomplish the review of all the environmental aspects of the project in a timely manner, Alcan, the Department of Fisheries, and the BC Ministry of the Environment set up the Kemano River Working Group to discuss environmental problems, designs, and issues surrounding the construction of the project. The committee meets approximately once a month to discuss various environmental issues related to the project. An example of these is the location of the transmission lines along the Kemano and Kildala River valleys, where the alignment was altered significantly based on the input of the government agencies.
Environmental issues are continuing concerns for all of us on the Kemano completion project. And we'll continue to rely on folks like the members of the Kemano River Working Group to see that our mandate is carried out. And that concludes this edition of the Kemano Completion Project news video. Speaking for all of us involved in the production of these news videos for the past 2 years, I'd like to say it's been exciting and there's lots more to come. Thanks for watching.